Old chair for like so long, I decided it was time to get a new chair. As you could see, this chair is old, it's tired, it's been used. I think it's almost 2 years old, so I had to get something new. Get rid of this old chair. It looks bad. So I decided to buy this chair from Staples. It's called the Turcotte chair. It's a black Luxuria and it's model 23094. There are many things that come inside the box, so let's review it. Okay, the first thing that I usually do is to start with the bottom of the chair. As you could see, I get the wheel and I start to put on the chair wheels. This can become a time consuming process, like if you don't have strength and if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so as you can see, you hold it strategically, then you just screw it in and that's it. It shouldn't take that long, but sometimes because of different type of issues, it takes like forever. Like for example, this last wheel that I'm gonna put in, you see I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm doing and I'm pushing and finally it's in. Okay? And voila, that's it. And even after you think you're done, there's still more things to do because you see, I've poured it in and then it wasn't going in. So I had to try and try and try and try. Eventually, I got it in, you know, but sometimes it can become very, very, very difficult. So I got to push and, you know, it's like never ending. So finally, it's in and we're good to go. The wonderful thing for Staples is that they send you, you know, this package of screws that's neatly laid out. So it's not that difficult. It's not a difficult process. And, you know, it has everything there self explanatory. Now, this is the base of the chair. So what you do is that you take it out. There's going to be a little plastic container there. You have to take the plastic off of that because it just wouldn't work. So once that's taken out, you are absolutely ready to go now once that's taken out. The funny thing is that sometimes while you're setting up these chairs, you have to be a little careful because things can become very clumsy, especially if you're not like one of those guys who are really good at setting up chairs. So once you're done with that, you put it on the top of the chair base, as you could see. I'm going to put it closer to the camera so you can have a clear idea of what I'm doing. So once it's locked in tight, you don't have to do anything. And that's it. Very simple, very easy. Now it's on to the base of the chair. As you can see, everything is fully plastic. Once you take the plastic off, you know, you're ready to go. Now, one thing that's important is the chair handle. You have to decide like what goes in left, what goes in right. That there is the seat of the chair. Okay? So what I'm gonna do now is screw on the base part. I know that I'm using a lot of base, but it's just to signify that all of these things go at the bottom. As you could see, if you look closer to my jacket, Staples has something wonderful where they put front in front. Okay, you see they have the word front there, and also too, and the back of the chair there's also the word front there too. So to make everything simple, and what I'm showing you guys is just to see that well everything there is set up. Now once you have it in line, what you're gonna do is just find the correct screws. And Staples is so good that they have everything lined up and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. You just look at the manual, figure out where the screws go, and you just screw it in, and that's it. It doesn't take like forever, you know. You don't have to do too much. It's not that crazy. Very simple. You just figure out where the screw goes, scroll through your manual, and you start to screw. Once you find the correct screw, there's an Allen key in the case. You just make sure that it fits correctly into the screw, and you turn and you screw it in. One thing that I would advise is that as long as you're doing this, you make sure that you screw it in as tight as possible. Because if, for instance, you do a sloppy job and you don't tighten the screws properly, what could happen is while using the chair, you could slip and fall. And I think it's better to spend 5 or even 10 extra seconds just to make sure that your screws are thoroughly tight. So once you're done tightening everything, you just take the seat of the chair and you place it on the base of the chair feet. Again, you have to just make sure that everything fits correctly inside and be very careful because again, you don't want to have any kind of accident. Okay, so once that's done, it's time for you to do the chair handles. Now the chair handles are a little bit tricky because you have to decide what goes left, which goes right. Okay? Now that marker is always simple. If you're screwing in any screws, there always is an indentation. As you can see right now, I'm screwing everything in, making sure that it's right and everything is set up in the right position. It takes a little bit of time, but if you know what you're doing, everything is going to work out very simple. Again, it's better to, take your time and screw everything in tightly as possible because I cannot stress enough, safety is important. So I'm finished with the right side. Now I'm putting on the left side. And you're going to see me as I screw it in. Okay, so while screwing on the right side, you have to make sure that you line everything up. Make sure that it's perfectly aligned because once you're putting on the back of the chair, that could become a huge problem. Okay, if the back of the chair isn't aligned properly, again, you fall down, you break yourself. All right, so as you can see, I'm using my Allen key to screw everything in, and I'm gonna screw it in until it's tight. Okay, that's the operative word, making sure that everything is screwed in as tight as possible. Now that everything is screwed in as tight as possible, it's time to focus on putting on the back of the chair. This can become very tricky because if you see, I'm struggling to put it in and I have to maneuver and maneuver and maneuver around because the two handles, the two hands of the chair is already screwed in. So there's like tight space. It's a very tight space now to put in the back of the chair. And I'm trying to, adjust the camera so you guys could see a little bit better on exactly what I'm talking about. As you could see right there at the bottom, as I'm trying to put force in the back of the chair so that it could align with the screws. It's a very tight space because everything is already screwed in very tightly. Okay, so I, you know, I don't know what might be the best option, but what I think is probably best is that you probably screw on the handles first to the back of the chair and then screw it on to the base of the chair. I think that might work out a little bit better because when I tried it, it was so difficult. to do it the way that Staples recommended. You have to maneuver, you have to check to see if everything is aligned, and if you could put the screws in, and it becomes a little cumbersome at this point in time. So I think that even though Staples recommend that you put on the handle of the chair to the base of the chair first, I think that it's better to put the handle on the back of the chair, then put it on the base, and you will get a much easier experience. So after a little bit of maneuvering, I was able to finally get everything aligned, and now I'm screwing in the back of the chair using my Allen key. And it's still gonna be a little cumbersome, but once everything is in, you know, you're ready to go. And as you can see along the way, screws get fall out on the floor and everywhere else. And this is basically the last part of setting up the chair. Once you finish screwing in the back of the chair, that's it basically. So, just again, make sure you tighten everything properly. So as you could see, Staples give some coverings for the screw holes. So you just remember to put that over the holes where the screws are in. And it goes in very easily. It's not any huge problem to put them in. And you know, it it's on both sides, both the left side and the right side of the chair. And after you're finished doing that, that should be it. There's not much more to it, and that is your final product, the Staples chair. This process took me about an hour, probably an hour and a half, closer to that. Um, Maybe because I'm a novice, even though this is not my first Staples chair that I set up, but sometimes this thing, it can take a little while if you're not knowing what you're doing. So there's my Staples chair. So that you could see it from a better angle, this is the chair right here. It's very comfortable too. It's firm, and I think the warranty is about a year, and which is pretty good for 80 bucks. That's a good deal. All right, folks, thank you for watching. So after having this old chair for like so long, I decided it was time to get a new chair. As you could see, this chair is old, it's tired, it's been used. I think it's almost 2 years old, so I had to get something new. Get rid of this old chair. It looks bad. So I decided to buy this chair from Staples. It's called the Turcotte chair. It's a black Luxuria, and it's model 23094. There are many things that come inside the box, so let's review it. Okay, the first thing that I usually do is to start with the bottom of the chair. As you could see, I get the wheel and I start to put on the chair wheels. This can become a time-consuming process, like if you don't have strength and if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so as you can see, you hold it strategically, then you just screw it in.